some ministers and heads of security agencies at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The meeting, which is sequel to the recommendations by the Council of State over the security challenge in the country, is being presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. Reports say the meeting is being attended by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation Boss Mustafa, Chief of Staff to the President Professor Ibrahim Gambari, and National Security Advisor Major General Babagana Mungunu, retired. Ministers present at the meeting are those of Defense Bashira Magashi, Interior Raf Aregbeshola, and Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Oyema. Also in attendance are Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Ishaka Oladayo Amal, Inspector General of Police Alkali Baba Usman, Director General of the Department of State Service Yusuf Bichi, and the Director General of the National Intelligence Agency Ahmed Rafai Abubakar, among others. In another development, President Muhammadu Buhari says increasing the capacity for in-country production of vaccines and medical supplies has become a matter of national security. He directed Minister of Health, Dr. Osaje Ihanire, to submit a progress report by the end of May 2022 on the indigenous production of vaccines in the country. In a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, Buhari gave the directive while receiving the leadership of the Nigeria Integrated Biopharmaceuticals Industries Consortium, led by Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Villarugio Kuyas. Away from that, federal government says effort to improve power supply across the country is back on track. After about 2 months of challenges that led to the collapse of a national grid thrice within a month. Speaking at the Power Sector Recovery Program workshop for journalists in Abuja, Chairman of the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, Sanusi Garba, said consumers will soon begin to see changes in electricity supply. The government says it expects the grid to deliver a minimum of 4,500 megawatts of power daily, adding that services is expected to improve. On education, President, Academic Staff Union of Universities, Professor Emmanuel Sedeke, has accused the federal government of not giving priority to tertiary education. According to the government, he said the government had issued the issue of fuel subsidy with a budget of 4 trillion, whereas while ignoring issues concerning university education. Speaking during an interview with newsmen, Osedeke asked the government to take the 200 billion naira needed to revitalize the academic sector from the 4 trillion budgeted for subsidy in order to put an end to the industrial action embarked upon by the union. On security, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya has said Army project officers with the responsibilities of executing or supervising contracted projects in and around several barracks must be competent and proficient for timely delivery of high-quality projects. According to him, since the Nigerian Army executes most of its projects through direct labor, a high standard of professionalism and competency must be maintained to avoid possible building collapse across barracks. Yahaya, who was the special guest of honor at the first project planning and management workshop organized by the Nigeria Army Special Projects in Abuja. To politics now, where the All Progressives Congress says it will begin its sales of presidential governorship, national and state assembly forums on Saturday. The APC revealed this after its 11th National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja. Meanwhile, the APC has pegged its expression of interest and nomination forms for the presidential ticket at 100 million naira and the president's nomination form to be sold for 70 million, while expression of interest forms will go for 30 million naira. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has further adjusted its timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general elections. PDP, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagwa, says the closing date for the purchase of expression of interest and nomination forms for the 2023 general elections has been adjusted to Friday, April 22nd, 2022. According to the Publicity Secretary, under the reviewed timetable, the last day for the submission of already completed forms has also been extended to Monday, April 25th, while Wednesday, April 27th and Thursday, April 28th are set aside for the screening of aspirants for State House of Assembly, National Assembly, and governorship, respectively. He also disclosed that Friday, April 29, 2022 has been fixed for screening of presidential aspirants, while all appeals on screening will be entertained on Monday, May 2nd, 2022. Elsewhere, all presidential aspirants from various political parties will converge on a State House Conference Center on Saturday, April 23, 2022 for a Ramadan iftar dinner with the First Lady, Aisha Buhari. Spokesperson of the First Lady, Ali Abdullahi, who confirmed the meeting, said the invitees were instructed not to come along with their mobile devices except for their invitation cards, which would serve as their entry pass. Reports say this directive will not apply to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and governors and ministers who are expected to be at the meeting. Meanwhile, Abia State health workers have cried out over the rate of which their colleagues are dying out of frustration, suffering, and hunger following the non-payment of salaries for over 12 months. Officials of the Abia State Hospital Management Board stated this in Umuahia while protesting over unpaid salaries. They said the state government has turned the board into a place of frustration, pain, and death. Speaking during the protest, State Chairman of the Allied Action Committee, Echeta Chikezie, who stated this, said that the government paid basic salaries for 2019 last year, stressed that workers accepted it because of the suffering they were going through. Back here, traders selling within the popular Itam market in Akwa Ibom State have decried the unhygienic environment for business caused by decomposing waste around the market. Speaking with Spectrum Television, the traders called on the state government to ensure prompt evacuation of the refuse. Our correspondent has the report.
Where merchants within the states and different parts of the country come to display and sell their wares, which includes food items and other edibles. Although the state government can be applauded for its efforts on cleanliness, waste products from the market can be seen dumped and neglected by the roadside, spanning days to weeks without being properly evacuated and disposed. The waste therefore accumulates to cover half of the road, thereby hindering free flow of traffic and movements. Merchants who spoke with Spectrum Television lamented that they've lost customers who could not endure the odor emitting from the waste, and how they have managed to spread their wares amidst water from the waste flowing to their edibles, making it unhygienic for consumption.
This has been as day here since last week now, and because of that, customer cannot come here because fry is too much. Even the smell disturb us, so we cannot sit down here and eat again as we used to.
It has been for more than a week now. Enough, the thing has been too much. It has bringing flies upon our markets. People, customers could not patronize us anymore because of the flies here.
According to them, the situation wasn't always this awful, as efforts have always been made to clear the waste earlier, but they are not comfortable with the persistent delay.
They used to come every day, to carry the dustbin. For this time, since last week, it's more than 1 week now.
It has been for more than a week now. They used to carry it every day. But now the thing is, I've been there for so long. I don't know what happened.
They are calling on the state government and all relevant authorities to address the situation speedily as it's becoming an eyesore in Uyo, capital city.
We want the government to come and help us. This place has been here for too long. We don't know what happened.
I'm pleading for the governor and all the executives to come and rescue us from this place and help us to carry the dustbin.
Edidion Martin, reporting for Spectrum Television.
In Africa, South Africa's major port of Durban, where last week's devastating floods disrupted operations, is now functional. The country's Public Enterprises Minister, Pravin Gordhan, who announced this, noted that a backlog of thousands of containers will be cleared within 5 to 6 days. The floods caused extensive damage to roads leading to Durban Port, one of the busiest shipping terminals in Africa and a key hub for exports like metals and agricultural commodities. Meanwhile, Côte d'Ivoire's new Vice President, Temoko Millet Kone, took the oath of office before the Constitutional Council in Abidjan, a day after his appointment to the post, which had been vacant for nearly 2 years. Recall that President Ouattara had announced the appointment as Vice President of Kone in front of deputies and senators gathered in Congress in the Ivorian political capital, Yamoussoukro. Reports say the post of Vice President, as enshrined in the last constitutional reform of 2016, has been vacant since July 2020. Meanwhile, a new government is set to be appointed this week by Prime Minister Patrick Archie, who was reappointed on Tuesday, 6 days after his resignation. Elsewhere, Italy on Wednesday penned a deal with Angola to ramp up gas supplies from the southern African country as it urgently scrambles to break away from Russian gas over the Ukraine war. A statement from the Italian foreign minister announced the declaration of intent was signed to develop a new natural gas ventures and to increase exports to Italy. Prime Minister Mario Draghi wants to add Angola and Congo-Brazzaville to a portfolio of suppliers to substitute Russia, which provides about 45% of Italian gas. But deals in Angola and Congo could bring Italy an additional 1.5 billion cubic meters and 5 billion cubic meters a year, respectively. On the foreign scene, gun salutes will ring out to mark Queen Elizabeth's 96th birthday, although the monarch herself marked the occasion with little fanfare. It has been a troubled year for Britain's royal family, with concerns over the Queen's health and questions over the future of the monarchy. Rounds will be fired from the Tower of London and Hyde Park in the British capital, where a military band will also play the Happy Birthday song. Still on the foreign scene, President Vladimir Putin today ordered the Russian military to cancel plans to storm a Mariupol steelworks and declared the Ukrainian port city liberated. Putin gave the order to Sergei Shoigu, his defense minister, who had previously told Putin that more than 2,000 Ukrainian fighters were still holed up in the vast land, which has a sprawling underground combatant to it. He said his decision not to storm the steelworks was motivated by the desire to safeguard the lives of Russian soldiers. Still to come in the news, Manchester United confirms Erik ten Hag as new manager. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. On our business news now, telecommunication subscribers under the aegis of the National Association of Telecom Subscribers have said they are set to drag the federal government to court in May in a bid to temporarily suspend the government's barring of subscribers' outgoing calls. Recall that on Monday, April 4th, the federal government ordered telecom companies to bar outgoing calls on all lines that were yet to link their national identification number and the subscriber identity model. In response to this, NatComs has urged the federal government to extend the implementation of a STVNg policy by 3 months, which 1 month will be to implement the ban. Still on business news, Nigeria's external reserves rose by $243.83 million in 19 days. According to figures obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said at the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting that the moderate accretion to reserves reflects the duality of Nigeria's position as an oil exporter and importer of refined petroleum products. In health, Africa's Center for Disease and Prevention Control (CDC) has called on member states to learn from the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and invest in public health emergencies. Head Disease Control and Prevention in Africa (CDC) Dr. Mohamed Abdulaziz made the call in an interview with newsmen in Abuja. Abdulaziz, who said preparedness for any outbreak will be binding to secure member state collaboration upon declaration of public health emergency of regional concern, irrespective of leadership or politics, at the time added that the reviewing the commitment is critical to realizing goals articulated in the Agenda 2063. He said the invest will include giving authority and autonomy to the Africa CDC, prevention and creating a pandemic preparedness and response authority, an epidemic fund, and a health workforce task team. And sports, Manchester United has officially confirmed Erik ten Hag is taking over as the new manager. Ten Hag will leave his job at Ajax at the end of the season to become United's 5th permanent manager since Sir Alex Ferguson retired in 2013. The 52-year-old will be joined at Old Trafford by his number 2, Michel van der Gag. Reports say the Dutchman's appointment has been expected for some time since Portsmouth Review aired a month ago, and he had been interviewed for the job, having moved ahead of Paris Saint-Germain boss Mauricio Pochettino. Meanwhile, 7 days after the appointment by the Nigeria Football Federation, some coaches have said they were yet to be contacted by the federation, adding that they only read about the appointment on the pages of newspapers. Recall that on April 14th, the NFF appointed several coaches, goalkeeper trainers, and match analysts for the various national teams. On our entertainment news, American rapper A$AP Rocky has been arrested by the Los Angeles Police Department in connection with a shooting that occurred in November 2021. The department announced via its Twitter page that the rapper, whose legal name is Rakeem Mayers, that he was arrested for assault with a firearm at Los Angeles International Airport. LAPD gave details of the November incident, stating that the victim claimed the rapper shot at them after an altercation. Still on entertainment, popular Russian state TV game show host Alexander Gurevich has quit after slamming Vladimir Putin's barbaric invasion of Ukraine. 57 years old, Gurevich apologized to fans for presenting the light-hearted 100-to-1 show at the same time as Kremlin forces carry out horrors on their neighboring country. Reports say his comment has led to all episodes of the show, similar to Family Third, being removed from YouTube following his resignation from the state TV channel Russia 1. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel all of which you can find on our website SpectrumTV.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Rachel David White. Have a good afternoon.
Despite the rapid growth in Nigeria's technology sector, only very few women have the opportunity to participate as co-founders and owners or employees of technology and businesses. As such, bridging the gap between male and female participation in the technology sector remains a huge challenge for the stakeholders. However, in recent times, there has been increasing involvement of females in the technology space. Regardless of the disparity in assessing opportunities, women are beginning to create innovations and to spearhead change through technology in their immediate environments. Gradually, things are changing as younger women are showing interest in the sector. As the world is constantly changing, to meet new demands of modernization, technocrats have worked tirelessly to improve the quality of human life. From seamless methods of paying for goods and services to delivery of the same goods across a wide range of industries. With the pandemic, the use of technology has also created a boisterous new world for online people to connect with people and their loved ones, facilitating trade and serving as a tool to keep people connected to their religious affiliations. The traditional definition of work, which was previously tied to particular locations, have now become more flexible to accommodate remote workers.
Following the many incidents of attacks by terrorists, bandits, and herdsmen across the country, with specifics to the recent attack by Abuja Kaduna Rail Lines, as well as adoption of students in Sanford State, serial killings of locals in Benue, it appears the federal government might be overwhelmed by the many security challenges. However, Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed says the federal government is by no means overwhelmed. He says terrorism is not a controversial war, and what terrorists want to achieve is to return to the front page of the dailies. The statement has raised several questions on the federal government's fight against insecurity, as well as the modus operandi, which appears to be Lay's report of attacks on the media, is seen as a win for the federal government. Although the Nigerian military is doing their best, the Chief of Defense Staff Lucky Irabo believes Nigeria needs more than the military power to win the war against insurgency and other forms of insecurity, especially in the heart of the people.
Education, they say, is the bedrock of development for any nation. For the pupils and teachers of Lutheran Primary School Oguduta in Ibesikbo Sutan local government area of Akwa Ibom State, the learning environment is not conducive for both. The major infrastructure decay in the school are lack of protective doors and windows, convenience, water, as well as desk for the pupils.